Howdy there. If you keep up with the channel, then you might know of a video I uploaded recently called, or at least something called, along the lines of, I haven't uploaded it yet, but it's a story about the douchiest person I've ever met. Now, you're sitting there, you're thinking, oh, the second worst person you've ever met? How bad can this really be? I saw the first video. I know how bad that was. Can it really be that bad? Yes. Fucking yes! Don't believe me? Just sit right there. Where do I even begin with this guy? First off, the first thing I want to say is that we're gonna call him Rick. Now, Rick is a person that I only met this year, but he still claims the title of second worst person I've met in my life, which is a big accomplishment. Congrats, Rick. I appreciate that. And first thing I want to mention is he was just a fucking asshole. And the first thing of this is that he would literally he found, like, he was like really fucking thirsty over one of my friends, and she like obviously wanted nothing to do with this fucking weirdo, and somehow he got her fucking phone number and called her, and I was like, ah, that's weird. And like, she's obviously like, yeah, no, sorry, bye, ugh. Like, well, no, she didn't pick up. I don't believe she picked up, actually, which is an even better thing to do in that situation. And before we go any further, my school has this sort of thing called the boys' home, where they have like dudes like from like middle to high school that are just sort of troubled youth, and they try to make them better with the Bible. It doesn't work, believe it or not. I mean, I'm not saying all the people who go there are fucking assholes. There have been some people who I like who have been in the boys' home and who are good people. And I'm not saying every one of them's bad, but a lot of them are really awful. And this guy takes the fucking cake. And obviously he can't call people in there, so he somehow managed to use get her phone number and use the phone, which is just fucking creepy on all levels. And I don't know how I would feel about that. And there was this, okay, so we were joking around, me and another friend, about how girls with arm hair are gross, and like, nothing against females who have that, you know, it's your choice, whatever. I mean, you know, you do you. Obviously, we were joking about it, and all day we were bugging her to look at her arms. And this dude Rick, I almost said his real name, he literally fucking, I'm not kidding, he was so pissed. He like white knighted so hard. He was just simping so hard on her. And he was like, fucking, don't say that about her. I'm like, fucking, what? And that was the point I realized I hated this man. And after this, there were a few minor things, but it didn't get bad until a while after. Apparently they have a cat at this boys' home, and apparently, as another person in the boys' home said, he hit this cat, which, like, you have to be a really shitty person to hit animals. Like, I'm not kidding. It was at this point that I was like, okay, maybe he's not all that bad, whatever. And it was at this point that all of that for him, every single thing like that, it just went out the fucking window. I hated him with all my guts after this point, because I hate people who can do shit like that, who can hit an animal, who can, like, do shit like that. It pisses me off so fucking much. And it's not just because I have a cat, it's because animals don't deserve that. It fucking pisses me off hard. Like, you can be just like a really shitty person, and I'll still give you the benefit of the doubt and be like, oh, whatever, you might be alright. But as soon as this happened, all respect I had for this man was fucking gone. And it was at this point that I realized I didn't want to associate with him in any way. I didn't before this, but it was at this point it really sunk in. And after this, I just ignored him. I just didn't go near him. He was just, I didn't like him. I wasn't an asshole to his face. besides this one example I'm about to bring up, but I just didn't fucking like him. And another thing that happened is he got into a fight with, or at least sort of a fight. He was annoying one of my other friends. He was annoying one of my friends who I've mentioned before in other videos. And this guy, my friend, fucking punches him after he's like pestering him and stuff and like shoving him and shit. And he gets him hard too. And like for like 20 solid minutes, he doesn't say a fucking word to anybody. And later in the next class, which was history, he got into a fight with one of my other friends. And I'm not kidding, he would have gotten his fucking ass beat if anything would have happened, because my other friend was trying to pull him off of Rick, and like he couldn't do it on his own. There were like 2 other people like trying to pull this man back, and he was ready to kill this dude. He was ready to kill Rick, which I am 100% fine with. And my boy Rick, not my boy, fuck him. Okay, the friend who he punched earlier, he grabbed him like this and just pulled him back barely and like pulled him to the wall away from my other friend. And he was struggling so fucking hard. He even farted on my friend. It was so sad. He was just, my friend was over there having 3 people pull him back, and Rick's over here against the wall like this. And it was the funniest shit ever. And I was just sitting there just fucking trying not to burst out in laughter. And he got what he deserved, obviously. He got in trouble for that, and he's actually, at the end of the school year, he was like, he didn't go there anymore. He's gone, which is good. And at this point, I was incredibly happy, but as I alluded to earlier, there was a story where there was a time where I was an asshole to him. And it was this time we went on a bowling trip. I think a lot of like the school went. It was like high school and like maybe middle school went too. I'm not. Yeah. And oh boy, was this interesting. He was like, okay, so we were bowling. It was just me, 3 other friends, like the core group of the boys. We were just bowling, doing our thing. And this dude's like trying to get in with our group of bowling pros, might I add. Actually, I'm pretty shitty at bowling. And at this point, like, he's like following us and trying to get in, and I turned to him. And like, we were avoiding him. We were moving to like other alleys, bowling rows to bowl. I don't know the correct term. And I turned to him, and I'm like, you think we're, I looked at him and I said, no one likes you. We are literally trying to get away from you. Why do you think we keep moving? And it was this point, he looked so shocked. He was just like, and like, that was my last straw with him. I had it to that point. I was like, maybe we're trying to fucking get away from you, and you can't take the fucking hint. So I just had to just hit him over the fucking head with the hint. At that point, it wasn't really a hint anymore, but it served. It did the job. It did the job. And later that day, he asked me to borrow $1. I complied. I let him borrow $1. He eventually paid it back. Thought that was interesting information to the story. And within like a month or so, I never saw him again, which and I hopefully will never see him again, because if I do, I will just be filled with fucking rage. So, you know. Oh, I got these at the bowling alley. Hold on. They had like these, you know, those little crank toy things where you put in like a quarter. They had like Steven Universe figure, like little Steven Universe figures there. And I got Garnet and Peridot. Peridot's my favorite, easily. So I got those there. These were like 25, no, they were like 50 cents each, and I was like, I gotta get some of these. Honestly, I would've if I had the money, I would've kept going until I got them all, because I only bought like $20, and they brought like $20 and I needed food, so. But that's where the story ends. Like I said, hopefully I never see this dude again for the rest of my fucking life. And I feel bad for the people who had to live with him, because in the boys' home, you have to live with these people. I know people, and I'm friends with people who have lived with him, or at least one specific person in the boys' home. I don't really care about mostly anyone else except this one person I'm referencing. And I haven't talked to him about it, and I probably will, but he was the biggest asshole, besides the other guy I mentioned earlier, ever. And it was seriously, like, I don't know. I just never want to see him again for the rest of my fucking life. And can you blame me after everything I just said? I'm not gonna say his name, but Rick, if you're watching this, well, I mean, I doubt you would, but if you are, then fuck you. Just a suggestion. Bye. Love you.